Hey friends, AC here. Welcome to my channel Smells Good, and I do really appreciate you clicking on the link. Over the last few days, I've been thinking of bringing you a review of something special, something unique, and I've got just that for you. It's called Rasasi, and the actual name of the fragrance is Dhanal Oudh Nashwah. I do not know what this translates to in Arabian, but I know Dhanal Oudh means soul of oud. Now, boys, before even we get into the fragrance review, I'll tell you one thing. Rasasi have got something special here, and I've spent a lot of time dissecting the fragrance, trying to understand why is this so nice. It really is beautiful. Let's get into the review by looking at the packaging. So here it is. So friends, here is the presentation of Rasasi's Dhanal Oudh Nashwah. At the front, it's beautiful calligraphy, and it says Eau de Parfum. The bottle looks like a sort of old-fashioned message, it's like a parchment, and there's a little sort of an elastic string, and it opens up. But if you think about it, the presentation is really clever. This is actually a representation of how oud is found in nature. The Aquilaria tree has pale yellow kind of a main trunk, if you like, and the heartwood, which is where the oud is formed as a reaction to an infection of a yeast infection into the tree, is where you find oud, and the color of the oud is darker than the trunk of the tree. So kind of a message in a bottle, but what comes out looks like the actual heartwood of the Aquilaria tree, which is what is known as agarwood or oud. The atomizer is not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. The bottle has the same Arabic calligraphy all around it, yeah, and it's a kind of a dark brown, blackish type of a texture. The cover looks like it's got wooden, it's made of wood, but it's actually plastic. So that's the presentation. Let's start with the spray. I've got to dry down my left hand, and I'm going to start with a fresh spray. The atomizer is not the greatest, but it's not too bad. The moment you spray, the first image that'll float in your mind is a sumptuous, handmade, really lush chocolate bar. Yeah, it smells delicious, delicious. But if you don't like sweet scents, don't be put off, because this is not a sweet fragrance. It changes a lot, and that's what makes this. That's why I'm so delighted to bring this review to you. It's a very interesting fragrance. So let's start with, in about 30 seconds, you will start to get the different notes. It's a very well blended fragrance, so it takes about a bit of time to really react with your skin chemistry, and then you start to smell the different notes, but very hard. It took me a lot of time to decipher the notes. The top is the easy one, yeah. So there is obviously, for the price point, this thing is, I spent £18. This is a 40 ml bottle. So the price point, it's very affordable, right? For this price point, you definitely can't expect real oud. So this must be oud-like aroma chemicals. But what they've done is they've got oud in every layer of the fragrance. The top oud that you smell reminded me of the type of oud which smells a bit sort of delicious, fruity, greenish. That's the kind of oud you smell at the top. There's also a prominent note of nutmeg, yeah, and this fragrance gives out different vibes every time I've applied it. So that's what makes it even more interesting. At the moment I'm smelling leather, which you actually smell in the dry down, but I'm actually getting leather now. The real top notes of this fragrance has honey and nutmeg, and that honey and nutmeg with the floral fruity oud creates that impression of a sumptuous, delicious chocolate bar. the very first few seconds. It's a beautiful, beautiful opening, yeah, and it's a very opulent kind of an opening, very opulent smell. You feel as if you're wearing something very expensive, like a Tom Ford. That's the impression you get. In about 15 minutes, you will get the other layers of this fragrance, and it's like a symphony. Notes keep popping up and down. Sometimes something gets up. I'll tell you the very interesting thing that happens. This dry down is about an hour, so very interesting thing happened yesterday when I was wearing this. I suddenly started smelling red wine, a little note of red wine, oaky. The kind of smell you will get if you've ever been to a wine cellar, a wine tasting sort of an event where actually they store the wines in oak casks. When they pour it, the red wine actually mixed with the smell of oak barrels. That's the kind of smell I was getting yesterday. But it doesn't happen all the time. It just keeps. Sometime it'll showcase itself. Sometime it doesn't. Now, when you hit the middle, you also get slight floral note, and that floral note is of immortelle. If you smelt immortelle, it's a very nice, fragrant, very alluring fragrance. It's a floral fragrance. It's very alluring. You get a hint of that, and how they've maintained the manliness of the fragrances by adding a note of juniper. It's sometimes evident, but it's always in the background. Nothing about this fragrance will make you think that it's out of sync. No, none of the notes are dominating here. When you get to the base of the fragrance, that is where it has slight sweetness. The sweetness that you encountered right at the beginning because of the honey and the nutmeg returns into the fragrance by use of slight bit of amber and very, very nicely done leather with the ever-present oud, which gives it the woody. I think there's also cedar, very, very little hint of cedar. So the fragrance goes from starting off as a sumptuous chocolate to a very opulent oud-based, inviting, slightly seductive composition. Excuse me. But what a joy it is to wear this, because you get different notes on different days. I was getting a red wine note yesterday, which I'm not getting at the moment. I didn't get any leather, but the leather is prominent now. So depending on your skin chemistry, you get different notes, and that's what makes this fragrance interesting. For that price point, I don't know how Rasasi have managed to do it, but it's such an interesting, slightly complex, non-linear fragrance, which is the cherry on the cake. Is the oud here smells very similar to some of the ouds I've smelled. I think the one that I am trying to connect this to is probably Indonesian oud, which is slightly more fruity. It has that red wine type vibe and a slightly oaky smell, and that's what I'm getting. So in a nutshell, this is a fantastic oud-based fragrance. Very interesting because you get different accords, and that's what I like about this fragrance. Now coming to the occasions, I think this is a all year round evening fragrance. It's got good performance, good longevity, and it has good power to last you in cold winter months as well. And there is nothing out of sync in this fragrance. For example, the spices are not out of sync, so you can wear this in summertime as well. The honey and the nutmeg are restrained. Yeah, the oud, or the actual aroma chemical that is representing oud, is of high quality. So there is nothing which jumps out and sticks out. It's all beautifully blended. It's a nice little symphony, and I think it's a great evening wear. Dressed up, dressed down, no problem, and all year round. That's what I think. I have not tried this on my fabrics. I've not sprayed it on my shirt, so I couldn't tell you whether this will smell better if you spray it on a fabric. I've always used this on my skin because I know that oud smells amazing on your skin. It's supposed to be always supposed to be. It's meant to be worn on your skin because it interacts with your skin chemistry and produces beautiful aromas. I have huge respect for this fragrance because of what it is. In terms of value for money, very high. This is the quality of fragrance. This 40 ml bottle, I got it for £18. It's currently available for £20. It's really high quality juice and good performance. In terms of longevity, it's a 24-hour fragrance. Yeah, every time I've sprayed it on my skin, I can smell it the next day. It's a 24-hour fragrance. In terms of sillage, it's a medium sillage fragrance. It doesn't really create a huge scent bubble, but it creates a very decent kind of a scent bubble which you'll get all day. I go 2 sprays under my shirt and I can smell it all day. It's medium sillage. In terms of projection, for the first 1 to 2 hours, the projection is about a foot, so people will smell you. After that, it sits closer to the skin, and that's why I think it's a decent date night fragrance or hanging out with a friends kind of fragrance. It's not a screamer, but what a fragrance this is. It's a delightful creation. It's beautiful. And you will constantly sniff your wrist or wherever you've applied it because it's so interesting. Different notes keep coming, jumping in and out. So all in all, I think this is a good 9 out of 10. Yeah, but it's probably not suitable for daytime wear. That's why I'm taking one mark out. But presentation, occasions, the quality of the scent, and how it really smells, the composition, it is top draw. Really top draw. You've got to try this one. So hopefully you like this review, and if you do give it a like, do subscribe. Thank you. This is AC signing off. Namaste.